The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags, or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the U.K., go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers. What's going on, Tanimals? It's another week, a new week of the Tanndemonium Sports Show. I'm your host, Brian Tan, and with me as always is the auto to my Happy Gilmore, Jackson Law. J Law, yet another new series. How many damn gaming stream series are you doing now? Like 80?
I don't want to talk about it. I do way too much.
Yeah, I was actually getting into your NCAA football one. I was actually getting into it. Harry Vendetta. That sounds like a porn.
Harry V, yeah, dude.
Sounds like a porn.
Listen,
name.
we're making the Harry V universe, okay? We've got him as a head coach with the Buffalo Bills in the NFL Head Coach 09 series. We're throwing it back to his high school and college days with the Campus Legends series. And we're not done there. There's more of Harry V to be done.
Is Harry V going to make an appearance in MLB The Show?
I don't know. Dual athlete better than Bo Jackson.
Whoa.
I'm not saying, some people may say that. I'm personally not saying that. Some people.
Bro, no one is better than Bo Jackson.
He's the white Bo Jackson.
So he's Woe Jackson.
Jackson.
You know what? Real quick, who do you think was the better running back, Herschel Walker or Bo Jackson?
Oh, that's tough. Oh, dude, you put me on the spot like that. Yeah, you really put me on the spot, dude. I don't know, because it's like Bo was really good. We just didn't get to see like a full career.
Yeah, but Herschel.
So it's hard to say.
But Herschel didn't really. I mean, Herschel was good, but he wasn't like setting records and stuff either.
I might have to go with Bo just because of Tecmo Bowl. I mean, the man was unstoppable. Literally run circles.
Yeah. I go with Bo just because I don't like Herschel Walker. He's kind of an idiot. But you know what? Speaking of people that were genuinely disliked for a time, one of our favorite male golfers of all time got into himself to a very, very serious car accident today. It's breaking news. Tiger Woods he got seriously injured in a one-car collision. The jaws of life actually had to be called in by the fire department to get him out of his vehicle. Now, it's being said that his injuries are not life-threatening, but among his injuries, I'm looking at our notes here, two broken legs. And, well, you know, because 4 legs, but 2 of them are broken, so, you know, I get it. And, I mean, this is nuts, man. He hasn't played in the tournament at all this year. He's still recovering from his back surgery, another back surgery, and now his legs are kaput. Do you think, J Law, that this is the end of the Tiger Woods era in professional sports as a competitor?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, you know, he's going to have multiple leg surgeries. It's going to be a long time to rehab just from the injuries, and that's not, you know, getting your sea legs or your golf legs, you know, back under you. And for people that don't know too much about golf, it's like your legs, they're kind of important. They're pretty important with golf.
Oh, you know, absolutely.
Because I mean, the whole reason why he had his first major injury, which was his knee was essentially non-existent because of how quickly he exploded and shifted his weight for years upon years upon years, which is why he was such a great golfer. And he was so much fun to watch because he literally just exploded. His whole body just whipped around, and that's all in the hips and the knees.
Yeah.
So
it's all
without,
it's all in hips.
So I mean, without functional legs, I don't see how he can play competitively. Like I could see him, toting out there with whoever's in the Oval Office, or whoever is, just an athlete, a professional athlete, or maybe even like charity stuff.
Like
but
he'll
at
have
the
tea times with
competitive
like Michael
level,
Jordan. He'll have tea time with Michael Jordan, but
yeah.
even Michael Jordan is so super competitive. I don't know if Tiger could deal with it, to be honest.
Did you hear the story about how Michael Jordan, his new golf course, he made it to the strengths of his golf game? So, like for instance, the fairways at about where his max driving distance is at, they start to close and narrow where professional golfers have to go for where they can hit it further.
Talk about
But
cheating.
for where Michael hits it at, it's like wide open greens, and then it gets really narrow.
What a cheater. Man, you better get your ass back on the hardwood with that cheatiness. Oh my goodness. That's horrible. Wow. It must be nice to have that much money to be able to just cheat at a game all the time. Oh my goodness. Before we get too deep into this party, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to Vendetta Sports Media's YouTube channel, and make sure you click the little bell icon to get either occasional or all of our notifications when we drop new content. And we're dropping new content like it's hot, like constantly. Go to vendettasportsmedia.com where we have articles just coming out of nowhere daily. All right. Sports, gaming, anything entertainment wise, we're doing it. You can check out the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Twitter, Tanndemonium VSM, or follow Vendetta Sports Media on Twitter, media_Vendetta. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, and make sure you go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. Support the cause, man. Support the cause. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe one day, Axis and or Maximum Sports Football will finally smarten up and do the real thing, save their products by partnering with Vendetta Sports Media. Of course, now that I'm calling them
doubt
out,
it, but whatever.
Calling them out on the Tanndemonium Sports Show probably isn't the best way to get them to do it. I don't know, man. Sometimes public pressure helps. Anyway, you ready to talk some NHL, J-Law?
Oh, you know, it's my favorite.
Well, we have a roundtable panel that we're going to be bringing in a second to talk the NHL, because we don't have a whole ton of NHL news, but we do have enough to talk. And so right now, we're going to bring back our NHL panelists. We're going to bring in Andrew McGuinness, Emma Brown, but also special guest, because he just couldn't sit in the green room and wait to talk baseball. He wants to come on the Tanndemonium Sports Show and talk hockey as well. Trey Daubert himself, the boss. So what's going on, guys? Let's get yourselves unmuted. Let's do some hockey talk.
Well, it's nice of you to invite me. I have you on that, some cheese, and this is the thanks I get, just being asked to skip the hockey section.
Well, you know what? I didn't know if you would actually want to do any hockey. I thought you wanted.
I'm full blown. I watch every night now because of this fantasy league.
Okay.
I watched the Hurricanes and Lightning last night, and I watched the Sharks and Wild after that.
Well, see, now Hurricane and Lightning, those should go hand in hand anyway, because isn't there Lightning involved in Hurricanes? So they should be on the same team, right? Mm-hmm. Only thing I know about hockey is that I love Sidney Crosby and I love Evgeny Malkin. That's about all I know about hockey. Oh, and
before we start the hockey talk, can I do like a 30-second side tangent for what Chad said on the lead word today?
Please do.
He said that Pittsburgh sucks for you calling out Philadelphia. So I just wanted to give you a chance to respond.
Well, Chad, you can.
He said the only good thing that Pittsburgh does is steal, and they don't have steal anymore.
Well, Chad, you can just lick all the balls, every last one of them, from the top to the bottom, to the left to the right, because Pittsburgh is still like the champion city. I mean, come on, you look at what the Steelers have done. You look at what the Penguins have done. We're gonna leave Pitt out of it. And we're going to leave the Pirates out of it. And hey, our Arena Football League teams are pretty awesome. I'll tell you what.
It's not a thing anymore.
Shut up, Andrew.
Didn't Bon Jovi own that franchise?
Yes, he did. He owned the Philadelphia Soul. He owned the Philadelphia Soul. Yes, he did.
They won like 3 championships. And that's
Who?
all I know about them.
The Philadelphia Soul?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what? I'm pretty sure if I brought my wife in here, she'd know everything about him because she knows everything Bon Jovi. Like everything about Bon Jovi, she knows. Like if Bo knows sports, Sharon knows Bon Jovi. Like I swear, I think she used to like hide under his bed and stuff and like steal stuff out of his house. It wouldn't shock me. But no, I mean honestly, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this about Pittsburgh. We've dominated in the NFL for the last few years, and that's all there is to it. What have Philly teams done? Okay,
Won a Super Bowl.
Okay, and
that's more than the Steelers have done in the last decade.
Yeah, but Steelers have been relevant for a lot longer.
I like the way this show's turning out. I had to stir the pot a little bit.
Not to mention the fact that how many Stanley Cups have the Flyers won?
Not very many.
Yeah, exactly. How
it's
many?
Two, for what it's worth.
Anybody else hearing the gunshots go off somewhere?
And you know what? I'll tell you this right now. Very few of Rocky's movies take like actually the big fights. Very few of them actually happen in Philly. I think only the first one.
I heard he said Permane Brothers sucks too. It's just what I heard.
You know what? Chad can eat a dick. How about them apples? You're gonna leave Permane's out of this. You know what? I didn't say shit about Geno's. I didn't say nothing about the cheesesteak places, but you gotta bring Permane's into this. You know what? Only a biatch would throw Permane's into this, man. Straight up
biatch. Feels like most real Philly people know that like Geno's and Pat's are basically just tourist attractions.
It's true.
I mean, well, I'm not from Philly, so I wouldn't know all that. So
John's roast pork, that's my favorite in Philly.
See, I'll tell you the truth. The one thing that I'll always give Philly is that them cheesesteaks are straight up on point. Nobody can really beat them. But I still think Philly is just mad because they're not the sixth borough of New York City. I'm sorry. I mean, all right, there is one other good thing about Philly. One other good thing about Philly. ECW, 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 and I'm done. All right, other than that, basically, you know what Philly is? Philly is the identical twin brother of like New Jersey.
I mean, I'm like from Jersey, so I don't disagree with that. There's also nothing wrong with that.
And you do know why the Statue of Liberty faces the other way, right?
Yeah.
It's the armpit of America.
Yeah, freaking Philly is just a larger Tromaville. I mean, come on. How do you really defend a city that boos Santa Claus, throws batteries at people, runs a top-notch coach out of town? How do you really? I mean, come on.
Okay, basically every city has run a top-notch coach out of town at some point. It's going to happen with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin probably sooner rather than later.
I don't think so. Honestly, here's the thing. This has definitely gone in a way different direction than I did.
Miami running out Tony Sperano. Yeah, big time head coach they ran out after 3 seasons.
All right, so 12 rounds has let me know we got NHL to talk. But you know what? I like this. I like having the interstate rivalry. But here's the thing. As much as I talk trash on Philly, nobody else outside of the borders of Pennsylvania is allowed to say anything about Philly. Nobody. Because I'll tell you, if anyone from New York had something to say about Philly, I got Philly's back. If anyone in Cleveland had anything to say about Philly, I definitely got Philly's back. And I'm
glad you feel that way because I would definitely not say the same about Pittsburgh.
And that's why I don't like you. You know what, man? And that's just how shady Philly people are. That just shows how shady.
It's called a rivalry.
You know what though? At least the Steelers were practically able to front a whole football team during World War II. If it wasn't for the Steelers, the Eagles would have folded. That's why we became the Steagles. All right. So y'all need to be giving us some thanks. That's all I'm saying. Show some respect. Show some damn respect.
Emma looks thrilled. She looks so happy.
I don't think Emma said a word.
I've ever been is Omaha, Nebraska. I have no words. I don't know what you want me to say.
Omaha!
Okay.
Omaha!
I've never been west of Ohio. I need to travel.
I've never been further west than Chicago. I've never been further west than Chicago, if I'm being honest.
I went to freaking Canada in middle school without my parents and then Germany in high school on an exchange trip. You guys need to travel more.
I went to London.
Must be nice to have that kind of privilege.
Germany's lit. Munich's fantastic. All I have to say.
You know
Germany
what?
is great. You know what's really pretty? Austria.
Well,
We went there for a day on the exchange trip. So beautiful.
Did you see Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Did not see Arnold Schwarzenegger
Well, then you weren't really
or
there.
Michael Raffle.
We have gotten way off topic.
Way
on
off
this podcast.
topic. Yeah,
Severely.
in poor 12 rounds, she's giving me the times from the control room. All right, let's talk the ranges if we must.
Second straight week.
Yeah. So yeah, I know, right? So
last week
Artemi,
I said the Rangers should put Mika Zibanejad with Artemi Panarin to help Zibanejad get out of his slump. Well, that's not going to happen.
yeah. So Andrew, what's the story with this? What's going on with this? Give us
So
a breakdown.
a couple weeks ago, I remember seeing that Artemi Panarin, Rangers player from Russia, tremendous player, MVP finalist last year. He put something out on social media. I didn't see the exact post, but it was in support of Alexei Navalny, who's like the main opponent to Vladimir Putin in Russia. And then yesterday it comes out that Panarin's taking a leave of absence from the Rangers as a result of sexual assault allegations from when he was a teenager, I believe, when he was still over in Russia.
Oh, Vladimir Putin's trying to sabotage this kid because he's not on his side politically. Wow. If that's not a Donald Trump move. Oh my God. I mean, well, are there any, have you, I'm sure you've gotten at least seen a little bit of this. Are there any truth to these allegations? What's being said?
I mean, so the guy who alleged it was Panarin's old coach, former NHL player as well, but all of his teammates from that Russian team have said that they don't have any evidence of it, that they don't think he would have done it, that he was a great kid and all that. It definitely feels like the most likely option is that it's a hit piece based on Panarin's support of Navalny. I mean, that's obviously not 100% confirmed, but if I had to bet on it, I would probably say that's what it is.
All right. So Emma, our other NHL analyst, so where does this go from here? What does this do for the Rangers season? And what does this do for this kid's reputation in the NHL?
Well, so I spent most of my afternoon trying to figure out what's going on, but it's Russia, so you can't really figure out what's going on.
Right.
I read that it's only a 2-week absence, so he'll only miss like 3 or 4 games, which isn't ideal with the shortened season, but because it's like a determined period of time, they'll be able to like make up for it for that period of time. I mean, they're the Rangers, so like they're gonna lose either way. But yeah, I've heard that it's a lot more of a determined period of time rather than just like he's running away to Russia and we don't know when he'll be back.
Right.
Emma, do you remember where you saw that?
What?
Do you remember like where you saw that it was only going to be 2 weeks?
I saw it. I think it was the New York Post.
Okay.
I just
hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah, it was a post that went up like a couple hours ago.
My question is, does he have to quarantine when he comes back? Like, does that set him out another 2 weeks?
That's a
Probably,
very
I
good
assume
point.
so.
That's a great point right there, Trey. I mean, I think with New York, I do believe New York, I don't know, 12 rounds, if you can look that up just to verify as far as the travel restrictions internationally into the New York, because you figured New York was a huge epicenter of COVID-19 last year. So I would think that he's going to have to quarantine another 2 weeks because Cuomo was really, really stringent on the travel restrictions into New York, and New York is still being hammered with COVID, with the lack of the vaccine. So, I mean, Trey, what do you think? I mean, from a GM perspective and from a scout, well, because you've worked in the industry, you've been closer to a lot of GM circles. What does this do for your team that's already struggling the way the Rangers have been?
Well, they stink anyway. So they kind of got to pull the plug on the season anyway. They weren't winning with or without Panarin. So whatever they can do at the trade deadline to sell off some of the old pieces, they probably should do. That I don't even know how to say his name. That Lafreniere, they started playing him with the top line of Panarin, and he was starting to come along. I feel like that hurts his development a little bit because that one game he scored, Panarin kind of set him up pretty nice. I feel like that really hurts his development because he was starting to click with that top line.
Yeah, and I think that hockey, the one thing that I'm starting to notice about hockey much like the NFL and in some instances the NBA. Not Trey Jackson, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but your stars are there to make the role players better and make the young guys stars. I mean, we saw that with Lemieux and Yager back in the late 80s into the 90s. I mean, we see that with LeBron has done a pretty decent job trying to make the guys around him better. So
Zibanejad stinks, so they're really screwed.
All right, and I'm getting from 12 rounds here that New York says that you got to test negative 3 days before coming into New York City and then quarantine for 3 days later. So this is a 3 weeks off for this guy now.
I got a question. Did the story say that this guy went back to Russia? Like that's why he's having?
I think he's going to, but I don't know if he's already back there yet.
Okay, and he is an
I would
opponent of
assume the
Putin.
main reason why he's taking this leave is because he's concerned about his family, because he still has family in Russia.
Yeah, and he's an opponent of Putin.
Which means that
He's supported.
Then-
He said stuff.
we might never see this.
Then
kid
I
again.
pray for this man and his family's soul. That's all I got to say about that.
Because we might not see this guy again. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm not one that gives into the idea of
On
conspiracy
social media
theory.
supporting the guy who's Putin's.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to call it like on the same level, but the only thing I can kind of equate it to is Anas Kanter, who has been extremely vocal against the Turkish government and the things that they have done. Like he cannot have contact with his family. He doesn't know what's happening to them. So anytime like he gets like on social media or anything, or he's like in an interview, he always mentions his family that hoping that they're doing okay. Until he became a U.S. citizen, he couldn't travel to Canada because then he could legally be extradited by the Turkish government if they've caught him in Canada.
Yeah.
So any team that he was on literally could not sign with the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors could have laid down like an offer in front of him to go play for them and to win a title with them, and he couldn't sign it because he wasn't a U.S.
Kanter's a
citizen. He
good
could have been
comparable.
extradited.
Kanter's
think-
a good comparable for the Panarin situation.
I
I didn't think of that.
I seriously think that we as American citizens and even Canadian citizens don't understand the stress that gets put on these athletes that are coming from Europe and Middle Eastern countries to play the sports that we take for granted, right?
Yeah.
Like
if you want a throwback, think about Tony Kukoc from when he came into the league. His country was wrapped up in a massive civil war, and he left his family back there to come play for the Bulls.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that was he just came out of a literal war zone, and then he's in a PR war zone and in a locker room war zone with Jordan and Pippen. I mean, that it sucks for a lot of these guys. It's horrible. This is a frightening story. I'm really as we're talking about this, I'm really worried about this guy. Andrew, I'm sure you guys are going to be on top of this. So I guess we'll check back with you guys next week, see if there's any new, any additional news on this. And I know that you guys will probably have some updates for vendettasportsmedia.com as well. So definitely look forward to any other news that we can get on this.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
All right, guys. So that's about it for the hockey talk tonight. That's actually something that I definitely wanted to get into. I wanted to get some real analysis from what?
Can we spend 30 seconds on Emma's wall?
Those
It looks like Wrigley Field.
That is a very Wrigley-esque
My
look.
pride and joy.
That looks pretty cool.
Are you bringing that with
My
New-
wife
You
would
gotta
be
bring that to New York
extremely
with you.
jealous of that.
Oh, it's coming to New York with me, Trey. I spent like 4 hours hanging all of this up. It's not
Okay.
just gonna stay here.
I'm just making sure.
So are you getting ready to make like a hula skirt, or is that like the Ivy of Wrigley?
No, my room is in the I still live with my parents, and my room is in the basement, so it's like a dungeon. So I hung the vines up for like some joy or something. I don't know.
Meanwhile, I thrive in dungeons.
Yeah, same.
Like, I'd be all kinds of happy being in a dank pit dungeon. I'd love it. As long as I still have internet access, I don't care. I don't care if I ever see the light of day again. All right, guys. So Andrew and Emma are our hockey analysts, our hockey experts here on Vendetta Sports Media. Thanks, guys, for joining us yet again. And you know what? We're going to have Andrew and Emma on either together or they'll alternate weeks throughout the hockey season so we can get their expert analysis on hockey here, because let's just be honest, between Jackson and I, we know that ice is cold, the puck is hard, and people hit the puck with sticks. And you're allowed to fight.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That's what makes
I love
hockey
it.
probably one of the greatest sports ever, because you are allowed to duke it
Yeah.
out with people.
So obviously I don't know the names of anyone really, but I went to my wife's aunt's house because her and her husband are huge Predators fans. And so I watched a game the other night, and as they were having a face-off, and as soon as the puck hit the ground, these two dudes, I mean, literally just tossed their gloves down, started hammering on each other. After the fight was over, ref separated them. They just hugged it out and then went their separate ways.
Now that's a
Funniest
dude
thing I've ever
sport.
seen.
That's
It's
a dude
just
sport.
dudes being bros. It's like, this game's kind of boring. Let's do something to spice things up a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Loved it. Loved every second of it.
Hell yeah.
Is that against
Alright.
the Lightning, you remember?
I think so. It was maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay. All right, there's one from, maybe not then. There's one from 2 weeks ago on YouTube, Luke Shen and Matthew Olivier. I think I remember seeing that. That was a pretty good scrap. But maybe that's not it.
Nice. All right, guys. So we're gonna take our first commercial. We're gonna take our first commercial break. We're gonna take our first break here on Vendetta Sports Media. Thanks again to Andrew and Emma. You guys just hang out for a few minutes. I'm getting yelled at by 12 rounds in the from the control room. We're gonna be back. Trey's gonna still be with us. We're gonna be talking some NFL. We're gonna be talking MLB Spring Training. Carson Wentz has been traded to the Indianapolis Colts, but he ain't getting his way, guys. We're going to talk about that more next, how Carson Wentz went in trying to do the right thing and still got made to be just the redheaded stepchild in Indy. We'll be back on the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Vendetta Sports Media Networks. We'll be right back. Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage. All right, we're back on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. We've been honestly, we were planning on coming back like a little bit ago, but we've just been shooting the breeze for like the last 10, 15 minutes. Even Jackson said, we're actually going to talk sports this time around.
We're actually going to do the podcast?
Yeah, no, right?
We're like 40 minutes after the Zoom call has started, and we've maybe talked like 10 minutes of sports.
I know, right? And I mean, we've come through with a lot. Like we discovered that.
It's been great.
Yeah, I mean, 12 rounds is a tequila girl. She outdrinks everybody.
She's a flip cup girl.
She's a flip
Takes
cup.
their money.
Yeah, she's a flip cup phenomenon. I mean, if flip cup ever becomes like an actual Olympic event, she's bringing home the gold. Just hope that she's not like puking all over herself when she's on the podium. 12 rounds is awesome. We love our 12 rounds. She's amazing. She helps keep us under control. She was yelling at me from the backstage. Somehow 20 minutes, 25 minutes. End the segment now.
Hey, that's her doing her job.
Mm-hmm.
Bridget's awesome.
Bridget's amazing. No one else is allowed. Bridget's mine. She's mine. Property of Tanndemonium. I'm sure her parents would have something to say about that, but she's mine.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm gonna adopt Bridget. All right. Speaking of people trying to get what they want for something that they feel they're entitled to. I'm entitled.
Oh man.
I'm entitled to Bridget, and apparently Carson Wentz thinks he's entitled to number 11, guys. And we talked about this yesterday, Trey, on some cheese. The Carson Wentz from Philly to Indianapolis trade. And we talked about, if you guys missed it, we're actually going to put a little link to that. As a matter of fact, 12 rounds, do me a favor, just put a little note on when this came in, because I'm actually going to put a card in YouTube about this. So you guys can actually go back to the latest episode of That's Some Cheese, where Trey and I were actually talking about, this guy, Carson Wentz, who had a MVP caliber year. And then all of a sudden he's just run out of town on the rail, because that's what Philly does. Philly got a Philly. Now he's gone to the coach that he had the success with. He's the head coach now, but he was his offensive coordinator, and Frank Wright, the forever backup to Jim Kelly in Buffalo. But the one thing that he didn't have, Trey and Jackson, was his number 11. That belonged to Michael Pittman Jr. Now, as customary, when a quarterback comes to a new team, he just gets that number. He either has to pay for it, or whoever has that number, whether it's a backup quarterback or a receiver. I'm still not a big fan, and I want to ask you guys this. I'm not a big fan of receivers having numbers in the teens. I want my receivers to have their jerseys in the 80s. That's what I want, personally.
Yeah, Chris Godwin just gave Tom Brady number 12 this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the thing is, to me, that's different. That's Tom Brady. As much as, I don't always like the guy, this is a guy who comes in with a pedigree of 6 Super Bowls. He's coming to your team to change the culture. You just give him that jersey, do you not, Jackson Law? Like he did?
Yeah, what Chris Godwin did, yeah. And which Brady didn't even ask for it. Brady was going to wear, I think it was the number 7 is what he was going to wear. And then Chris Godwin's like, dude, you can just have 12. It's whatever. And speaking of the teams, the weirdest number I've ever seen for a receiver, he's on the Razorbacks. I think his name is Treylon Burks. I think is his name. Where's the number 16?
That throws look right.
That throws me for a loop.
I mean, look, all right, in college, I can see a wide receiver, Trey, wearing like number 1. But I don't like seeing, like, even Chase Claypool wearing number 11. I don't like it. I don't like seeing wide receivers wear numbers in like from 10 to 19. I don't like it. What do you?
I want to know why Pittman is so tied to this number 11. Like what is it about the number? Because he's a rookie. He's a rookie second round pick. Like this isn't somebody that's been in the league 10, 12 years and he's like, oh, I've had this number forever. I'm on my way to go into the Hall of Fame and this is what I'm known for. Like, what is it about number 11 you were like, nah, dude?
That's what I'm very curious about too. And from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, 12 rounds, they didn't really get into detail. It's just Carson Wentz said, hey, I've always had this number. I really like it. Michael Pittman goes, no, it's mine. But isn't this his right though? Because it's not like it's Tom Brady coming in. It's not like it's even Ben Roethlisberger. It's not Cam Newton. This isn't an established guy. This is a guy who had 1 or 2 good years and then flamed out. So now he's on his second chance.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times what happens too is a lesser known guy that like has a number that somebody wants. A lot of the times the player will just pay him for the number. Like I think there's been stories of the past where Peyton Manning took out like the punter or something, is like, hey, I want my 18. Here's $25,000 or something. That's what players have done. Carson Wentz is making like a lot of money for a second round pick who's making pennies.
Bro,
you would think he's not like, hey, maybe I'll hold the guy over the barrel for like a good steak dinner or something.
I was gonna say, bro, you're taking me to Ruth Chris Steakhouse
Yeah,
like once a week from now until next off season.
Like negotiate at least. Like what is it about number 11? You're like off limits, can't have it.
Yeah. Okay. So like I'm looking at the notes that Bridget gave us. Shout out Bridget. She does a great job with her notes every day, of course. But apparently Pittman was talking about how him and Wentz did have the conversation about the number 11. He said that that Wentz was respectful and about the whole thing. But in that, they just kind of came to like a gentleman's agreement. Yeah. I don't know what that means. And Pittman tried to say that, like, he's super excited that Wentz is here. When he found out the news, it was great. But then Pittman said that it wouldn't feel right accepting money to exchange jersey numbers, and that he doesn't think a deal is going to get done.
Carson Wentz could double his salary.
I know, right?
If I could get like $200K for a jersey number, shoot, yes. That's a dude gifting me $200K. That's probably about how much I would ask from Carson Wentz.
I just love the fact that he's like, well, he was respectful about it. It's like he was respectful about it. Like this guy is like a rookie, and you've been here for like 5, 6, 7 years and paid your dues. Like, that's just hilarious. That's just like, if I don't even want to say Jerry Rice, but like, let's just say if Megatron came out, like, what if
of all the internet problems? Oh, go ahead.
No, like
Brian froze on us. He froze on us.
Am I back now?
Yeah, he's back.
What if Megatron came out of retirement?
It's not me this week.
Yeah, for a change, it's not you. What if it was like, what if Megatron came out of retirement and went to a team and they've already got a receiver that's wearing 81? And they said, and it's like, let's just say he goes to, I mean, I don't know. Let's just say.
It also depends who it is, though, right? Like, I don't expect Antonio Brown to give up 81, but if it's some second round pick that's accomplished nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same token, Carson Wentz should, I think, what if Michael Pittman's like his main receiver? Because, hey, that number
he probably will be. He probably will be.
Michael Pittman probably said, make me 1,000-yard receiver this year, and you can get it next year. That's what I'd do.
T.Y. Hilton's a free agent, so Pittman is really the main guy this year.
And I think that's probably why he did it. This is a power move. Look, I'm your guy. You can't have this number. But this is what 12 rounds had to say. It's let me see. So it says, quote, "That's cool, bro, because I'm probably gonna switch anyway. So it went really well, and he's just a cool guy." That's from Michael Pittman Jr. So it's probably something that's like, look, make it worth my while in the season, and then you can have it next year. Because now,
get me to a Pro Bowl, then we'll talk.
Right. Because right now, Indianapolis is all in on Carson Wentz. I mean, how much of his salary are they taking on? Because the Eagles ain't eating all of that contract.
The Eagles are eating a lot of it.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, was it like 33 or 38 million?
I don't know. We'll have to go back and double check, but I believe the Eagles saved like $100,000 by trading Carson Wentz.
100
off their books.
Wow, they got 100.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're eating like 30+ million.
Yeah.
Wow, they really wanted him gone. So wow, so so what gets me is that folks are trying to say who won this trade, the Colts or the Eagles? The Colts, because now they've got this guy for like what, 5 years? They've got him for a 5-year deal, and like they've paid nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. The Colts still have $45 million in cap space, and the Eagles are 37 over.
You want to talk? Philly's got a Philly, yeah,
and it's not a terrible free agent class either. There's some wide receiver 2s out there that you could get on a decent deal. Like
Allen Robinson would look good in Indy.
Yeah, Robinson. Shoot, even Galladay, like as your 2 or 3, if you could get him on a good deal.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, you got Juju Smith-Schuster going into free agency. You know what? I heard someone say today on YouTube that the Patriots should try to sign Juju because they've got so much cap space. They had no weapons for Cam Newton last year.
None.
And Juju, I think, would be perfect for that. And I think that even, take aside the dancing. Like, I don't personally have an issue with the dancing as long as you produce. But I think that Juju actually has the work ethic to fit into that Bill Belichick system. What do you guys think?
I think he's going to get too much money. I think he's going to be a Raider. That's my guess. I think he's going to be a Raider. I think he's going to get way too much money, and then they're going to expect him. Oh, he's the number one guy. We don't have to worry about anything else. He's what we thought Antonio Brown was going to be. And just like a classic Mike Mayock move, it's going to backslap him, and it's not going to go well. And the Raiders are going to do Raider things, and that's my guess.
What about you, Jackson?
If that happens, if Juju goes to the Raiders, can we clip that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we'll have to get Alex on here and see what he thinks about that.
He's going to get too much money by the Raiders. That's my guess.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jackson?
Yeah, I think he gets paid way too much money too. I don't know necessarily who he'll go to. I'm trying to think about who would overpay for him. Jacksonville might, just because they have so much money, and they could get desperate if they like if Robinson and Galladay or any of the other receivers. I'm drawing a blank on who else is in the class, but I could see Jacksonville doing it just because they literally have FU money. Like every top free agent, they could just outbid other teams.
That's true. That is true. That's a good point. No, I dig that 100%. Honestly, I seriously see Juju probably. I think Juju probably goes to. I think he definitely listens to the Patriots if they come a calling, because it is Bill Belichick after all. But I'd be very, very nervous to go to that team where they have no real quarterback in place. So I'm very, 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 very careful with that. If I'm Juju, I definitely want to go to a West Coast team. I maybe even see if the maybe the Rams have a little bit extra money to maybe do something and maybe play with Matt Stafford.
He's a USC guy.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure going to SoCal would definitely be in his
LA.
I think the Jets
San Francisco
are an underrated spot too.
Or the Jets,
thing is, I seriously think that the Jets, with this new regime that's coming into place, I'm hearing so many things that there's a huge culture shift in New York right now. So I think that if Juju goes to New York and they get a good offensive line to protect Sam Darnold, I think that Juju is just the weapon that Sam Darnold would need.
They played together in college too.
Yeah. I think that would be I think that would be an amazing pairing right there. So let's stick with Philly for a little bit. Desean Jackson, gone. Cut.
Later.
See ya.
And Aguilar too. Did they cut Aguilar too?
Aguilar's contract ran out, so
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was the year before.
Now, do you see?
No, I wasn't thinking Aguilar. Shoot, who else was I thinking of?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Alshon Jeffrey. That's who I was thinking of. That's right.
Now, Alshon Jeffrey's a guy I kind of feel bad for, because this is a guy who I had a lot of hope for this guy when he was in Chicago. I thought this guy was going to be amazing, but I mean, he's floundered. Like,
he's slow. It always was slow, but now that he's older, he's really slow.
Right. What do you guys think about this whole? What do you guys think about Desean Jackson? Do you think that there's a market for a 34-year-old that had a serious core injury?
He's going to get signed, but he's so hurt all the time that nobody will ever give him a big contract again.
I think he puts way too much of his body into these.
Sounds like my Bills franchise. Man's played like.
Let's not get into
NFL
head coach.
Game.
I'm going to lose it. You can't talk about your NFL head coach here. So disappointed.
This is my show, Trey. We can talk about whatever I want.
He's got you there.
Depends. It depends. We got to give you Popeyes again.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
I'm never eating Popeyes. Never again.
Just not in your state. That's what it is.
That was the Lord
it's an
punishing me
Arkansas
for
thing.
cheating on Chick-fil-A, not eating the Lord's chicken. You know,
Ugh.
I ate the devil's chicken.
Ugh. I wouldn't eat at Chick-fil-A again if you paid me. F Chick-fil-A. You know what? I'm going to get on a highway. I'm going to find a Roy Rogers, and that's where I'm getting my chicken, boy. Either Roy Rogers or Hardee's. Oh, man, I worked at Roy Rogers that was my first real job, was working at Roy Rogers, man. That chicken's on fire, man.
I do feel a little shame when I eat Chick-fil-A, but it's so good.
I haven't eaten Chick-fil-A. I haven't eaten Chick-fil-A in about 3-4 years, and I'm never eating it again. Ever.
Churches is another good one. If you guys have never been to a Churches
Never had
before,
that.
may just be a
We
southern
just
thing.
need to
I don't
find
know.
a way to get Jackson out of Arkansas.
There you go.
That's what
It is,
Arkansas sucks.
literally, bro. It's awful. It's
I have no
awful.
desire to
I
ever
went-
go to Arkansas.
I went on a rant about it on Toast Time with Anthony because he was talking about the winter, and I was like, "There's a reason why I love winter, and it's because the humidity is about 95 every summer where I live at, and I live in the middle of rice fields, so there's mosquitoes that big around that bite through my clothes."
I just like seeing Jackson's videos and then hearing the train go by.
That is
Yep.
pretty fun. That is fun. Oh, and guys, we're coming up on that special time of the NFL year, salary cap time. Some of the guys that are being expected to have the salary cap put on them: the Atlanta Falcons, Keanu Neal; Buffalo Bills, Matt Milano; and Taylor Moton from the Panthers. Guys, anyone else you think might get the franchise tag before we get into our free agency?
I have not looked at this at all. I know we have some of our guys have been doing some NFL offseason posts, which have been great. Definitely not Keanu Neal.
No, you wouldn't franchise tag Keanu Neal.
No.
What about Keanu Reeves?
Johnny Silverhand, we might have to franchise tag.
No, Silverhand franchise tags you. That's how
true.
that goes.
That is true, man. So Silverhand tells you that he's playing 1 year to 1 year.
Yeah.
Period.
Speaking of, final episode of that is coming out this week. So
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I finally finished it.
I still have a lot of folks that are telling me that they're very, very disappointed in Cyberpunk. And I can kind of understand, because the replay is just rugged, because whenever you go to play another path, it's like it's only the prologue that's different. Everything
Yeah.
else is exactly the same. And then you can't really go into the world after you finish it. Like, it makes it seem like you can, but you're just stuck at that save right before the final everything. So
yeah, and I got 2 other characters that I've beaten it with also. So I've beaten it with 3 different characters. I have like over 100 hours. I'm like close to 120 hours in the game. So I'm done with that sucker until there's like good DLC that comes out.
yeah, I'm done with it as well. I started playing a Second Life as a nomad or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm no.
Yeah, I've moved on to better things, because like College Football Revamped, which is a new series that's going to be dropping soon. It's fantastic. I get to play it on my PC. It's so demanding though on my PC.
What's it called?
Like, it's called College Football Revamped. I run it on my PC through a PS3 emulator, and the PS3 emulator is so demanding on my PC. My GPU is running at 98%.
Wow.
When I'm playing the game. I can't play the game with sound, or else it's really choppy and it lags.
Wow. You're gonna have to give me the info on that. I might want to give that a try.
I had to do some shady stuff,
Fair
but I
enough.
got it.
Never mind. Oh man. So I mean, is there anyone, Jackson Law, that you think might get the franchise? Anyone that sort of comes to mind?
Galladay. Kenny Galladay. Lions wide receiver. They can't lose.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Because I mean, like I said, I think he would be a decent option that you could get at a good price, for the Colts and for Carson Wentz. He's young enough, shown a lot of promise. When Marvin Jones, is that his name? Marvin Jones Jr. has
he's
gone
also
down.
a free agent.
Yeah.
I have one more name I just thought of.
What's that?
What does Dak Prescott get the franchise tag?
That is a good.
I was fixing to bring
question.
up Dak again
That's a good
because
question.
with him being injured, can you justify the price? Although Jerry Jones, being the idiot that he is, literally came out in a press conference and said, "Oh, Dak Prescott has all the leverage because he's been injured and we suck."
Yeah, I wrote that article. Unbelievable. Nothing like negotiating against yourself.
Yeah, he doesn't have the leverage because you guys sucked. He has the leverage now because you publicly said he has the leverage.
Pretty much. I think that Dak. I seriously think that Dak probably. I don't think he does. I don't think he signs a franchise tag. I don't think so. I don't think he'll do it. I think the only way
He'll sit out the year.
He might. Honestly, if I'm Dak Prescott and they try to franchise tag me, I don't sign it. I sit out. I continue to rehab my ankle, and I come back stronger. And at that point, the Cowboys are going to get run through the mud in the court of public opinion, and sucks for them.
Well, Zeke Elliott kind of did that. He's like, I'm not showing up.
Yeah.
And he got his money, and he got too much money.
Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to – all right, so we're going to take our final break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some MLB with Trey. We're going to talk some spring training notes and stuff from that, which I'm very, very excited to do. Little bit of NBA, and then we're going to go home. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure you go down into the descriptions. Check out Forever Grips. If you've got some gaming stuff, you want to soup up your console, you want to swag out your PC setup, go to Forever Grips. Follow our link in the description, and guess what? Use our code VSM15 to get 15% off of your order. Hey, I'm actually planning on, Trey, going to Forever Grips as soon as I get my Series X.
I need my PS5. I'm in.
There you go. All right, guys, we'll be right back for our final segment so that 12 rounds doesn't take me out in one. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Vendetta Sports Media Network. We'll be right back. The following broadcast is brought to you in association by Forever Grips. Go to forevergripsgaming.com for all of your affordable gaming accessories. Need new grips for your analog sticks? They've got it. Need to swag up your controller or console, including the Xbox Series X or PS5? They've got it. Need a sweet mouse pad to complete your setup? Go to forevergripsgaming.com now. Act now and use the Vendetta Sports Media promo code VSM15 at checkout to get 15% off of your purchase. That's right, 15% off by using our promo code VSM15. Forever Grips, the best accessories for the best prices are with Forever Grips. All right, we're back on our final segment here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. We got Trey Daubert, not just the boss, but he's also the baseball expert. And we are going to be talking spring training. Trey, it's here. It's that magical time of year.
It is here, except there's no buzz because Rob Manfred seems to not understand that you need to promote your product a little bit. So I would say maybe even 80% of baseball fans don't understand that spring training is here because Manfred has not let people know. But baseball's coming back. I'm excited.
Yeah, you know what I do every year around this time is I actually watch Major League. Like, that's how I really bring about the joy of spring training. Like, what baseball movie captures the essence of a baseball season besides Major League?
I'm more of a
Bench
fever
warmers.
pitch guy.
A what guy?
I'm a fever pitch guy.
Fever
I know
pitch?
the normal Boston people don't like it, but I love it.
And of course, Jackson Law is all about the bench warmers because
Bench warmers and beer league.
Well, what's that movie with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Mrs. Timberlake? That baseball movie, Summer Catch.
Oh,
Where they're like a minor league team. They're like what are they? A Cape
that was a good
Cod
movie.
League. Yeah, they're a
good
Cape
movie.
Cod League team, and it's pretty cool.
Hey, I do
that
like a
one.
league of their own too. That's
League
a
of
great.
Their Own. League of Their Own
That's a
is
great-
amazing, and those are some great flicks. But I just think there's something about Major League where it starts with the owner dying. You got the new GM, the new owner, and then Cleveland of all places are like people are getting excited for spring training, even though they haven't done anything in 30 years. And then Tom Berenger beats out a bunt. Like Major League is like one of the quintessential baseball movies of all time. Those other films are not like A League of Their Own is awesome. Summer Catch is amazing. Fever Pitch is pretty sweet. But I'm sorry, man. Major League just does it for me. But Trey, I think you're absolutely right. Rob Manfred, man, he's
Bull
doing
Durham. That's a good one too.
Bull Durham is another good one. Absolutely. Nuke Lelouch breathing through his eyelids. Oh, yeah. Now, here's the thing about Rob Manfred, and this is what I like about the man, is that he is taking steps toward the social justice aspect of it. And MLB is coming down really, really hard on sexual misconduct, which I enjoy. But from a product standpoint, you're absolutely right, man. How do you drop a ball this bad? You're supposed to be the guy, and you are not marketing your product at all. I mean,
2 years ago, they had opening day in Japan. I didn't know about it. Like, there was actually live baseball games. It was official MLB opening day. They had the games in Japan. I didn't know about it. It takes a lot for me to not know when opening day is. And the games were on at like 4 a.m. in Japan.
That's horrible.
Like,
that's absolutely terrible.
nobody knew about it. That's Rob Manfred to a T.
That's terrible.
In fact, this year, we were 3 months into the offseason, and they had not made a decision on whether the NL was going to have the DH or not. So teams had to spend money based on not knowing if they're going to have a DH in their lineup.
Now, what was the final decision on that, Trey? Or have they not?
There is no DH in the NL this year.
Now, how do
there
you
needs to be one?
So you are a DH. You're an all-around DH.
100%. And the thing that bothers me the most is the baseball community is like, well, we need more action in the game. And my thing is, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I'm adjusting my light because I'm
okay. I thought you were raising your hand.
No, I need to get one. I need to get one of those social media influencer little circle lamps. Is what
I actually have one. I need to set that up somewhere.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you ain't using it, just send it to you.
Producer Alex has one. He showed it to me.
I know.
Shout out
Producer Alex has a whole damn studio.
He's so good. Anyway,
it's a sucker.
The baseball community is like, well, we need more action in the game. There's too many strikeouts. We need this pitch clock and blah, blah, blah. The number one thing that needs to be changed is, if you want more action in the game, how about we send up a DH that can hit? Because every ninth guy in the lineup goes out there and strikes out because, and don't give me having the pitcher hit's exciting. No, it's not. It happens like once every month. It's not worth the trade-off. If you want more action in the game, get the best hitters in the lineup. Could you imagine if David Ortiz was just like playing for the St. Louis Cardinals and they're like, nah, we can't have him play first base, so we'll just have him on the bench. Hey, like, what are we doing?
I hear what you're saying on that regard.
Hey, Cardinals fans love watching Adam Wainwright crank one out of the field like 5-6 years ago.
And the other thing that pisses me off is baseball is the only sport that has not unified rules. So the NL has different rules than the AL. No other sport in the world has different rules for each side. And if you're going to pick one, you're going to put the DH in both. So,
see,
we have a sport that's not unified.
Well, see, here's my thing on that. And I get what you're saying. But as a kid, I love the fact that the two leagues were just different. I mean, it felt here's the thing. The Pittsburgh kids. So I didn't get a lot of AL games. I got all National League games. Like, I'm not a big fan of I was a big fan of interleague play at first when it was just the novelty act. But then when it was just an all the time thing, it lost its edge. And I think that's probably part of the reason why the whole DH thing is getting so much traction now than it ever has. Because back when NL teams only played in the NL and AL only played in the AL until the All-Star game and the World Series, it made it an event, right? It made it exciting. It made it fun. You know, like, these different teams had to like adjust their strategies when they had to play against each other. Now it's Tuesday.
I guess I hate the concept of having someone go up there, because how many pitchers can really hit? 5?
Greg Maddux could hit.
But like 5 in the whole sport. So we're relying on one rule because 1% of the teams or 1% of the players are able to do it. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand why the rules are not unified. It would be like in the NBA, Western Conference, there's a 4-point line. Eastern Conference, there's no 3. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
That's funny. That's true. You know, you're not wrong. You're totally not wrong about that.
And
so
how about this one? And I think part of the reason is I think the AL teams have such an advantage in free agency because they have that spot that they can spend the money on. It's hard for an NL team to go out there and say, we can spend the $15 million on David Ortiz, but we can only use him like 50 games and then in the World Series. And since 1988, the AL is 23-6-1 in the All-Star game. I think a lot of that has to do with, hey, we got extra hitters on our team. You guys don't.
That's a good point. Well, see, here's the thing that I don't like. I don't dig this idea of there's too many strikeouts in baseball.
I agree.
I love seeing strikeouts. I think there are too many home runs in baseball now. Like, I mean, I remember back when I was younger, a guy having 30 home runs in a year, that was huge. Between 30 and 40 home runs in a year, that was huge. Now it happens every year. Someone getting 50 home runs, that was super exceptional. Now it's the standard. So I really think that baseball needs to I think what baseball truly needs a salary cap. They need to level the playing field.
I feel like we kind of have one. It's not a salary cap, but this year, there are 0 teams projected to go over the luxury tax because teams get fined if they spend over. I think the limit is 238 or something like that. Teams get taxed an additional percentage if they go over that. This year, there's 0 teams that have gone over. Now, I don't understand why the luxury tax is in place because teams can just go over it. I don't know why they don't. There's no reason why the New York Yankees shouldn't go over the luxury tax. They make billions of dollars just on hats sold in China. Like, they're the only team that they sell hats in South Africa just because they're the Yankees. So the idea that the Yankees don't go over the luxury tax to me is silly. But
I just feel like there needs to be a way to level the playing field so that small market teams can compete.
The problem with it is, and the players don't want it because then it's if the Yankees can't spend the extra $100 million, the lower market teams won't. So we're basically taking equity out of the game to where guys like Mookie Betts, they wouldn't be able to sign the $400 million contracts because if there was a salary cap, those rich teams wouldn't be able to hand those big players the big money.
Well, I think they also don't want it because then if you have a salary cap, then that guaranteed money thing goes out the window because all baseball contracts are guaranteed. Like you sign for $200 million, you're getting $200 million. Period. NFL, NHL, NBA, you've got a base salary, but it could be worth this amount.
Do you know who the highest paid baseball player was this year?
Ooh.
Prince Fielder didn't play. He was the highest paid baseball player this year.
Wow. Higher than Bobby Bonilla?
I think Prince Fielder made I don't know, $18 million because the guys that were playing this year, obviously there was only 60 games, so they're only getting paid 60 games. But Prince Fielder retired because of a medical injury, so he got the 162 game check.
Wow.
And didn't play.
Lucky
so
guy.
Baseball contracts, they are very much guaranteed.
Beyond guaranteed. Wow. So the highest contract of active MLB players right now, or for 2020, $214 million. Who's that? 12 rounds? Who is that? 12 rounds for Prince Fielder. $214 million contract. Wow.
And he's been retired for a long time.
Dude, Prince Fielder.
Wow.
Prince Fielder. Now that guy was a beast. He was a hoss, man. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's going on with spring training. Is there anything that's granted there's very little buzz, but is there anything that you've seen that's sort of standing out in spring training right now?
I wouldn't say there's necessarily anything that I've seen. I think maybe one of the things I would want to talk about is maybe some sleeper teams, because one of the things I like to do when spring rolls around is those teams that have those guys that are ready to be called up. I kind of want to see what they look like and if they're ready to contribute or they need more time in AAA. Mm-hmm. So those are the guys I like to watch. I don't watch a ton of spring, but those are the guys I like to pay attention to.
All right, so give me a couple. Give me someone right off the top of your head.
I think someone like I'll go the Homer route. I think someone like a Jeter Downs, for example, who he was a big piece of the Mookie Betts trade. He's someone that the Red Sox really wanted in that trade. He's thought of as the second baseman of the future, but they already have a ton of guys at the position. So it's a matter of, hey, can this guy come in right away and steal the job? Can he show up to spring training and, hey, you guys have no choice but to play me? Because the Red Sox already have Michael Chavis and Bobby Dahlbeck and Kike Hernandez, and they have a ton of guys. But how early do you want the big piece of the Mookie Betts trade to come in and play right away?
I know if I trade away a Mookie Betts, I better get some return that I can put on the opening day roster right away.
They sort of already have that with Alex Verdugo, but he's not Mookie Betts. He plays the same position, but he's not Mookie Betts. The trade will look a lot better if the second base kid comes up and he's a star. And it's also going to be weird seeing a guy named Jeter play for the Red Sox. His name is Jeter.
That's awesome. So what about this story that's coming out of Seattle, where the CEO had to step down, or the president of the team had to step down because he's running mouth about, he was talking
he's just dumb.
He was talking about Robinson Cano when he was talking about an infielder that was overpaid. He's talking about Robinson Cano.
That's a guy that just didn't know when to shut up, because teams manipulate contracts all the time. Theo Epstein, who's won multiple World Series, did it with Chris Bryant. He sat him in AAA. He was like the second overall pick in the draft, hit like 400 in AAA, and he's like, nah, we're not ready for you. You got to sit in the minors for an extra month. And it cost Chris Bryant a year of free agency. He's still under contract this year because they manipulated his service time. Teams do that all the time. This dude just didn't know when to shut up. And the Cano part, he's 100% right, but just shut up. Like the Mets are stuck with a bad contract, and that was a terrible trade by New York. They got absolutely fleeced. And one of the guys they got back is a guy named Jared Kelenic, who's going to be an absolute star for the Mariners. But dude, just shut up. Like, please. Teams manipulate service time all the time.
Right. And that's what makes baseball so unique, is these different rules, these different regulations, these different sort of inner workings as far as service time, because no other sport does that. No other sport has that. Well, no other sport even has sort of a quote unquote minor league system like that. Yeah, the NBA has the G League, but it doesn't work like that.
And one of the biggest reasons why it's in place is because we talk about the competitive balance issue in baseball. How can we get the small market teams to really win? Well, if you keep those guys in the minors for a while and you sort of hide them until they're stars, those teams don't have to pay them a lot. Right. So those small market clubs, to where, yeah, they can't afford that guy 4 years down the line, but if we hide him a little bit and we make his contract a little less, then if we do that with 10 other guys, we can compete for a 2-3 year window.
Right. And then maybe we have somebody to take their spot later on. Like, yeah, that's how the Pirates, that's how the Pirates have a Josh Bell and then trade him all of a sudden when it looks like he's just getting ready to come into his
because
prime.
Even a small market club like Pittsburgh, they can't afford Josh Bell after he's already in the league for 4 years because of the arbitration system.
Right. And that's another thing too that makes baseball so different. Like, I mean, yeah, the other leagues have a system similar, but it seems like everything that baseball does, it's set itself apart. Like, and it keeps itself relevant, Trey. I mean, it's just odd to me.
I've never really understood baseball's like system about, like free agents and everything. I just remember every time that I buy MLB The Show getting pissed off that I have to play with the same team for like 6-7 years before I'm finally a free agent and can choose where I want to go. Because before that, you have to demand for a trade.
I know.
And you could go anywhere. And, but before that, you have to play with the same terrible team. Because if you play well, in the
you play well in the minors.
You play well
up to the majors.
Well, not just that, but it's like, before the draft, if you get drafted by a pretty bad team high in the draft, whatever round you go in, you're stuck there for 6 years in game.
Yeah, that's frustrating because that takes
so it just it gets
unless you're a part of a blockbuster trade somehow.
Yeah. So normally I just grind my player up till he gets to a decent average or overall, and then I just start simming to just try to hurry up and get through. But that sucks because you spend like the first 6 years of your career, you play like 2 or 3 seasons, and then like the next 3 to 4 seasons, you just try to sim so you can finally go choose whatever team you want to go to.
MLB The Show's a grind. The season is too long. It's hard to get through it. It's hard to get through it.
Yeah, it is.
We have a series on our YouTube channel, and I just didn't make it to October.
It does feel long. And what gets me with MLB The Show, even though this has happened, I'm still buying the game for when it comes out for the Xbox One.
Absolutely.
Is whenever I would be playing it, right? Because I would always play as a first baseman or a third baseman, a power hitting first baseman or third baseman, or a power pitcher. And once I figured out my swing to be hitting home runs, it's like, man, this just isn't fun anymore. I'm batting 430 with like 40 home runs at the All-Star break.
What's great is that they do have now, it's like a dynamic like difficulty setting. So it fluctuates depending on, if you're playing terrible, then it lowers the difficulty a little bit so you can start getting hits. But if you start like going crazy, then it starts to really up the difficulty. And then like it gets harder to read the pitches. It gets harder to make good contact. It's more punishing. If you're a little late on a swing, if it's on a lower difficulty, you still probably get a good hit. But if you guess wrong, if you're late, then it's either like a pop up in the infield or it's a little dinker back to the pitcher.
What I usually do is I take over the Red Sox, and if they lose that day, I make the game really hard. And if they win that day, I make the game really easy. So I try to get through the season that way. And then when the playoffs come, I just set it to that, whatever that setting is.
Yeah, the dynamic or whatever.
The dynamic one.
See, I think all sports games should have that dynamic.
I would love it if the next NCAA football had that, because it gets so difficult sometimes when you do new sliders and it gets really difficult. And so then it's like you start playing better because you start learning how the sliders work and you start learning how to play. So, but then it gets to a point to where the sliders then start to get too cheesy, where it's like, then you can't do anything. And it's like, you could have freaking like DK Metcalf and he can't get open, or AJ Brown literally can't get open because you've put the pass coverage for the CPU up to 100 and there's nothing you can do. And
I could jam up Madden, all sliders, jam them up.
See, I just really wish that all sports games would do that, because I know when I'm playing Madden, I don't like going past certain levels because then it's just like it's just not fun anymore. So I don't know. We'll see.
I took the Jets to the Super Bowl. I can do it.
I did that too. I had a quarterback named Henry Pape. Henry Pape was awesome.
Yeah, there's a guy that I've seen. He's got like all CPU sliders up to 100, and he's got user sliders like down in the 30s and 20s, and it just looks like hell. The dude is having a rough time like doing anything. And granted, his team is terrible, and he's like supposed to be doing a rebuild, but it just looks like no fun. Like the guy clearly has no fun whatsoever playing it. He just plays it because he gets views.
Yeah, see,
that just seems hellish. It's like, why would I do that to myself?
Why not? You know what though? And I know we're running on it. We're running against it, but I'm trying to think who. So give me your thoughts, Trey, this earliest part of the season. Who do you have at least coming out of the NL East? Who do you have winning the NL East?
NL East. I will take Atlanta. I think the Mets are a little bit overhyped. I know they've made a ton of moves, but historically what can go wrong for the Mets usually does. Mm-hmm. I also think they're kind of working with a false reality where their foundation just isn't built yet. I don't love their offense. I love Jeff McNeil. I love Pete Alonso, but I don't think their offense is dynamic enough. Atlanta proved last year that they took the Dodgers to Game 7. And if Mike Soroka's healthy, I think they'll win the series in 5. So Atlanta's my pick for the NL East.
All right. You got anybody in mind for NL East there, Jackson Law?
I'm going to keep it a buck with you. This is a learning year for me to get back into baseball.
Fair enough.
I was hardcore into baseball 7-8 years ago, and then it just kind of tailed off once
Baseball's the best.
Really started getting
baseball. Once I really started getting the best sports.
I'll give you a trick for anyone that wants to get into baseball. Record the game. Don't watch it for 30 minutes. Fast forward through all the commercials. I guarantee you will be able to watch it no problem.
I'll try it. I will try it.
Record the game. Don't watch it. Wait like 30 minutes.
I will say this though.
All the bad parts. You're good.
The best experiences I've ever had has been going to actually watch a baseball game, like going to the
Baseball-
stadium. That is
baseball
some
is
of the
one of
best
those
atmosphere
games.
ever.
Baseball is one of those games that, and it's not like going to watch a football game where it's cold and it's miserable, but going to watch a baseball game, there's just something about baseball that brings out the best, at least to me, that brings out the best in what having quote unquote Americana is.
I've never been to PNC Park, so let's go.
Okay. PNC Park is amazing. I love PNC Park.
I'll come up for that trip.
All right.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Once COVID is safe, we all get the vaccines. Let's you guys come on up here. We'll go to PNC Park. We'll check it out. Matter of fact, you guys come in 2021. I should actually not be in an apartment anymore. So one of you guys can have the spare bedroom. The other one can have the office couch.
My sleeper team this year, by the way, I know we're going to close out. Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay.
They've been bad for a long time. I think some of their young guys are going to be ready to go.
Mhm.
And a team like Tampa Bay, I think they took a step back, who went to the World Series. The Yankees, they're not aggressive like they used to be. They're very vulnerable. The Red Sox are not close yet. They're a year away. So I think Toronto's going to be a lot better than people think.
I think the one thing I'm noticing about the Padres is that they're spending a lot of money and they're starting to finally get some real relevance.
I hate their GM with a fiery passion.
Fair enough.
I just think he's clueless. I really do. This is a Padres team that prior to last year, this guy's had his job for 8 years, and this is the first year they've won a playoff series. They went all in on Matt Kemp and bums when they thought they had a chance. Craig Kimbrell, Justin Upton, they made terrible decisions. He was given like 5 years to rebuild the whole organization. He lucks into Fernando Tatis, and people think they have a good team. I don't buy them as real contenders.
Fair enough. We're gonna have Trey on throughout the baseball season once a month. We'll start talking some baseball. Hopefully in March we get some more buzz to really go into. Of course, this week we really had to wing it, but I definitely want to at least start getting some baseball talk going because I love baseball. Baseball is just a special game. Like for me here in Pittsburgh, there's nothing better than just putting on the radio and having the Pirate game on. And I said this to you a couple of weeks ago there, Trey, that baseball is one of those games where you don't even need to see it on TV. You can just put it on the radio and just enjoy yourself.
I need to see it on TV.
Just because you're weird. But messing up my point. Boss. All right, so we're going to close out. Boss. We're going to close out on that note. Trey, let folks know as if they don't already know. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm just Trey Daubert. It's exactly how it sounds. TreyDaubert on Twitter. If you haven't done so already, find me on TikTok. I'm out and about. I'm with the kids now. I don't know what the lingo is. I think they say that shit slaps or something. Who knows? I'm out.
I don't know. 12
world.
rounds. 12 rounds. Is that a thing?
That is a saying. Yes, I can answer that. That
Wait,
is a
what
saying.
is it? What is it?
It slaps,
That shit
man.
slaps.
The hell does
It means
that
it's good. It means it's good.
I'm trying to be with the kids, man.
Man, I'll just say that shit is hard.
With the
That's hard as
shits, that
hell.
means like you got some good dance moves. So Trey, on That's Some Cheese, you were talking about busting out some dance moves.
I feel like Dance
I see-
Minor
I
Trey
see-
might come back. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
see, there you go. And then you start dancing, and people are gonna be like, "Man, that man's with the shits," or he's schmoovin'. That's another word. Schmoovin'.
You know what? I'm just gonna stay in my Gen X lane. I have no desire for any of that. I'm just gonna stay.
When
with
I was a
Gen
kid, we
X.
used to say dog all the time. Yo, dog.
Yeah, I would say.
Dog.
I'd say dog was a thing. Dog was a thing. Or homie.
Yeah, bruh.
What up, homie? What you know? Or better yet, when I was in high school, we had Ike. What's up, Ike? What up, Ike? Matter of fact, I remember at my high school, guys would be like, "Yo, man, that shit is hard. Strength Tito on the Neffs, Ike." And I'm like, "Whoa." See, that's Hill District for you. That's Hill District here in Pittsburgh. That's old school. They probably don't still say that though.
Biggest one you'll hear a lot of kids say these days is cap or no cap. Cap means it's a lie. No cap means it's the truth.
Yeah, I'm learning every day.
So
I'm
like
losing my hair, but I'm trying to get younger.
So someone could say, like Lamar Jackson is the greatest quarterback in the
Stop
NFL.
Stop it. We're not
Trey
ending the show
can
on
go,
that.
that's cap.
That's
cap.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a salary cap on that bullshit. Oh God. I think Trey is finally gonna decide he's gonna rethink this Tanndemonium sports show.
Never.
I'm gonna wake up
Never. I
one
love coming
morning
on.
and I'm just not gonna have access to the Slack anymore.
12 rounds is gonna take your spot.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna get a notification. Trey Daubert has removed you from the Vendetta general chat.
He's gonna see the stuff for the Tanndemonium Sports Show. It's gonna say hosted by Brian Tan and Bridget 12 rounds. What the hell's happening? With that being said, I'm Brian Tan. He's Jackson Law. That's Trey Daubert. She's 12 rounds. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show on Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure you check us out on vendettasportsmedia.com. Find us on social media. We're on the Twitter, media_Vendetta, Vendetta Sports Media on YouTube. We're on the TikTok, on the spot, Libidoc, whatever the hell that song goes. And hey, find us on Instagram as well. We're all over the place. Check us out. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next week. And be on the lookout because the Tanndemonium Sports Show is going to be going live before you know it. See you next week.